Hello and welcome to the program. Today's question is, as a buyer, what question should I be asking a seller? My name is Jim Beno. I'm a seasoned business broker, also known as an M&A advisor. Once again, I do not give legal advice, do not give tax advice. Let's jump into today's question. As a buyer, what should I be asking the seller? Now, if you're a seller of the business, I recommend you listen to this session anyways, because it's going to give you an idea of what to expect question-wise from the buyers when you do go to market. So, first question I'm asking a buyer, or as a buyer, I'm asking the seller is, why are you selling? And that sounds pretty simple, but I want to make sure it makes sense. So, if the seller has had the business for 30 years and he's in his 60s and says he wants to retire, okay, that makes sense. If the sellers said they want to sell the business because they're retiring and maybe the seller is 32 years old and she's only owned it for 2 years, that doesn't make sense. So I want to know, does it make sense why they're selling? Next question I'm going to ask them, and it's really two parts, is most businesses will go to market with an asking price, but some businesses do not have an asking price. So if the business does not have an asking price, I'm going to ask, what's your price expectations for the business? I want to see kind of as a buyer where they're at with pricing. If it does have, after they respond, or if the listing does have an asking price, I'm going to want to answer, how did you determine the asking price? Sometimes, especially if it's somebody selling on their own and they're not represented by a broker, they just pull a number out of the hat. They have no idea, or maybe they talk to their CPA. But I want to know how the asking price was determined. And I think you need to dig a little deeper too. So let's say you have a business where they're asking $8 million, it's making $2 million a year of income. Okay, that's a 4 multiple. That sounds pretty good for a business that size. I'm really interested in that business, but you have to dig down and say, what does that purchase price include and what does it exclude? That's a real important question. For instance, on a lower mid-market deal like that, the broker is going to inform the seller that that normally comes with a normal average rate of working capital. My definition of working capital is accounts receivable minus accounts payables plus an inventory. If it's a Main Street business selling for under 3 million, it's going to come with inventory, but probably not accounts receivable. So if you ask that question, what does that purchase price include? And the seller says, well, that's for the business. I have another $1 million of inventory. I have another $1 million of accounts receivable, and I've got about my equipment's worth another $2 million. Okay, now that purchase price has gone from 8 million to 12 million, from a 4 multiple to a 6 multiple. So, you can maybe eliminate, say, I'm not really interested in that business then at that point. So asking what's included in that purchase price is I think, important. Ask them how long they've owned the business and how long, if they started the business. Another key question I would ask is, have they ever gone on an extended vacation for 60 days or 90 days or away from the business, and what happened? Or could they go on a vacation? A lot of times, if the business is very dependent upon the owner, there's no way they could leave for 60 days. If they've got key management in place and they could go and call in once a week and be gone for 60 days, that's an excellent business and it's going to get a lot of buyer interest. So that's a question I'd want to know. Another key question I'd ask is, how long will you stay for a transition time? Most Main Street businesses it's probably going to be 60 to 90 days. Could be a little longer if they're willing to stay longer, great. For a lower mid-market deal, the owners are probably going to have to stay at least a year, maybe 2 or 3 years. But you want to know what the seller's expectations are for staying, how long they're open to staying to help you with the transition. Another question I'll ask is, are they open to a little seller financing? And I'm not asking them to seller finance 50% of the deal, but maybe 5 or 10%. If you're buying a business for $5 million and they're willing to do a $500,000 note, okay, then that gives me a little assurance that they think I'm going to do okay with the business. If the seller absolutely is against any type of seller financing, uh, to me, that might be a red flag saying, wait a minute, does he think I'm going to flop with his business and he's not going to collect his money? Well, why is he concerned about a 5 or 10% seller note? Another question I would ask is, what do you think the 3 to 5 most important characteristics or traits of a business owner for your business? In other words, do they need communication skills, negotiating skills, financial skills, sales skills, and see how they ask that question. I'm certainly going to ask about customer concentration. I want to know what percent of revenue their largest customer is, their top 3 customers are, top 5 customers, and maybe even top 10 customers. I definitely want to know information on customer concentration. I also want to know if you're the seller and say, let's pretend you're buying the business instead of selling it. If you were 30 years younger and everything you know today, what would you do to grow this business? Because that's probably going to be the best way to grow the business. They know that business inside and out. I certainly would ask that question. Also, what's your 3 biggest concerns for the future performance of this business? Is there any potential litigation that you're worried about for the business? Are there any future industry or law changes that you're concerned about on the business? What will you miss most about the business after the sale? And then there's going to be a whole plethora of questions that are going to come up based off the financials. I'm not going to get into that. I just want to prepare you that you're going to be asking a lot of questions on, if maybe cost of goods percentage, sales have gone up. You don't know why has there been an increase in your costs, or if sales have dropped, why sales have dropped. But you're certainly your CPA that's advising you can certainly help with those questions. But you're certainly going to want to dig in as a buyer and dig into the financials and ask a lot of questions. So those are some questions I would be asking if I was buying a business. That's it for today. Thanks for listening. If you enjoyed today's video, please make sure to like the video and subscribe to my channel. I'm going to have other educational videos that if you're looking to buy or sell a business, you'll find very helpful. As a reminder, I don't give legal advice or tax advice on these videos. If you want to contact me directly, you can reach me at Jim Beno at businessbrokerexpertsinc.com. That's JIMBENO at businessbrokerexpertsinc.com. Thanks for staying to the end. I have a little reward for you. I have a couple bonuses for you. Just click on the link below and find out how to get your 2 free bonus reports. Just click on the link below and get your 2 free bonus reports. Thank you.